In my work, I'm often asked the question, what are the traits of a board-savvy CEO? And how do those traits help build a rock-solid partnership with the board? Well, there are many situations that call for different talents. You've got startup, you've got expansion, you've got redoing the finances, all of those things we've dealt with. But what I find is common in all of those situations are 4 traits that I think have been successful in building a partnership. And the first one is that the CEO and the board have genuine interest in each other, that there's respect for each other's time, you're not afraid to set boundaries, and you're interested in building relationships. And when I say they have a genuine interest in the board members, I ask myself first, how did that board member come to the board? And I see 3 ways. First, there's the board member who comes because of a hand-on volunteer experience. They've been a disaster volunteer for the Red Cross. And then there are those that join because of the mission. They want to be involved in curing cancer. They want to support an organization that provides clean water. And then there's the third board member. And that's the person who's recruited. And it can be because they have community connections, they have money, they have skills and talents the board needs. But in that case, often they're not familiar with the mission. So in all those cases, now I, as the CEO, understand what brought them to the board. When I say respect for each other's time, what does that mean? Well, for the CEO, it means that you have a clear agenda and purpose for the board meeting. I don't blame board members for being upset when they don't know why the board meeting has been called or what the agenda is. They're just sitting there in the dark. And secondly, another frustrating point is if the board meeting doesn't start on time. And then finally, there's respect for privacy. There has to be some element of privacy in that relationship. And that means that people aren't calling the CEO at midnight or 6 a.m. in the morning unless there's cause for it. There's an emergency. There's something going on. Well, the third trait that I see is that the CEO is not afraid to set boundaries. What is their sacred time? On Monday afternoons, they coach Little League. On Saturday, they volunteer at the Y. There's something that they're doing that they let everyone know that this is sacred time, please don't interfere. And what are the good times to contact me if those are the sacred times? And finally, there's always relationship building. The board-savvy CEO should have periodic meetings with each of the board members. They should understand what motivated the board member to join the board. What did that board member see as their role in the organization? What were they really interested in accomplishing? And I think the CEO helps them to be successful. And finally, I think there has to be humor in the relationship. And although the work of the board is serious work that affects many people, the CEO has to put the board at ease. And I think this is often done with humor. Say a joke at the beginning of the meeting, or laughing when the picture falls off the wall during the board meeting. And then, of course, there's the pesky banner that keeps falling off the wall during the big dinner. I think we've all lived through some of those situations. I think these are the traits of a successful CEO who wants to build a rock-solid partnership with their board. Once the CEO understands what motivates the board member and has built a strong relationship with them, what are the steps the CEO should take to get the board interested and committed to developing their governance capacity? Well, first, I think the board-savvy CEO shows respect for each board member. And that means their contribution to the organization, and the CEO makes them feel needed and valued. There's nothing worse than not understanding why you're on the board or why you're at that meeting. Is there some hidden agenda? Well, the CEO respects that individual and wants to make them feel valued from the beginning. And then the CEO has a willingness to listen. And I have found that board members often come with their own agenda, whether it is to see the organization build a playground, balance their finances, recruit more volunteers. There's just lots of reasons. And finally, there's roles and responsibilities. And those really have to be clear. The board understands their important work. They understand that many lives are affected by their decisions. And so they become committed to growing themselves in terms of their governance capacity. Partnership with the board chair is really a vitally important aspect to building a close, positive, productive partnership during their term together. And I think in order for there to be a positive and productive partnership, there has to first be trust. Now, what do I mean by trust? Well, trust comes from good communication, from understanding roles, expectations, and responsibilities, and then setting clear goals. Well, the board-savvy CEO and the board chair have to respect their individual talents, their skills and intelligence, and be willing to listen to each other. They also have to be supportive of each other, and that means that they really have to work as a team. And in order to work as a team, you have to divide what will be each other's responsibilities and then come together to set those goals. And together they have to lay out the vision. They have to share that vision with the other board members and bring the rest of the board into a basic understanding of what their work is going to be. Now, this may sound like the CEO and the board chair are manipulating the rest of the board, but really, in my view, what they're doing is bringing clarity to the work of the board. They lay out the goals of the strategic plan, and they help the board understand how that will inform the board's work. And then, from that, they provide the direction the CEO needs to implement that shared vision. And all this preparation helps the board work as a team, and the board-savvy CEO knows that team building is the key element in building a strong and productive partnership with the board chair and the rest of the board. In my view, the board-savvy CEO embraces the mission and works as part of the team with the board to achieve that shared vision. That is the most important relationship between the board chair and the CEO to help the rest of the board move along, understand their serious work and what needs to be accomplished, and then how that can be done through achieving a shared vision.